Hey guys, I'm Steph.
And I'm Richard. Question from Sanduni Madushani. Can you make friends easily in Korea? Koreans. Some of my closest friends I've met in the classroom, like for example, my very first semester teaching here, I had a boy that I didn't even notice at all. He used to sit up in front of the classroom. He came up to me on the last day and said, hey, can I exchange phone numbers with you? And of course I did. It was no big deal, but it ended up being a really, really good exchange because we are still friends with him. In fact, he's invited us to his house since that time. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. He also helped produce the very first documentary movie I ever made in my life, the Sunung. That's very special to me because I could not have done it without him. Yeah, he was a movie major at Kyunghee. He was a cinema, theater, arts, and I don't know what he did exactly. I mean, even between you and I, we've made a good share of Korean friends, but very differently. She's definitely the nicer of the two of us, and I'm probably the more assertive.
Yeah, I would say that you are more outgoing and assertive, and you'll go out there and try to make friends, where I'm a lot quieter, but I'm also really nice.
I wouldn't say that I'm trying to make them. I would just say I would maybe be making friendly conversation or something like that. Yeah. Then I meet people that way and we exchange phone numbers sometimes, or there's a lot of instances where I've made friends here. Well, I mean, you too.
Yeah, but I don't usually like just make friends out on the street. Like, that's not usually how I make friends here in Korea, but you've actually made a lot of friends just in passing. That's why I'm saying you're the outgoing, assertive, like, let me just start conversation.
It's funny you say on the street because when I was thinking about this topic, I think I make more friends in the classroom because the kids are 20-something. The ones that are more interested in Western culture are the ones I might end up becoming friends with. Like, for example, last semester, I had a class where the whole class ended up inviting me to dinner. We all went together because they were getting ready to graduate. So the boys are upper 20s. I'm 38, so we're not that difference in age. I got invited by one of them afterwards, more recently, about a month ago, to go have dinner. That's nice. I mean, he contacts me and is like, hey, I'm free on Friday, and he lives not too far from here.
That is one way that I've actually made friends also, is former students at university who, after they graduate, then we become friends.
That's how we've done it. And when I say everybody does it differently, if you don't have interaction at a university or on a university campus, then you're probably not gonna do it like we have, or like some of the ways that we have.
Yes.
One thing that I notice here a lot is that Koreans are really interested in speaking English, or not just English. If you're a Spanish speaker, for example, there are Koreans that want to speak Spanish, or French, or German, or other languages, even Chinese and Japanese too. And so they'll seek you out sometimes, not necessarily online, for example, but if they see you. I've heard plenty of instances where foreigners who obviously don't look Korean are approached by Koreans to either teach private lessons and get paid for it, or just make some language exchange meetup time where they can practice each other's languages. They make friends that way.
Yes, I've actually been approached on campus a couple of times. So that is one thing that you do have. Language exchange is a great way to make friends. You can find people online that want to do language exchanges, or like you said, people just coming up to you on the street.
One of the first times I made Korean friends in 2008 when I first got here was when I went to a soccer match in Suwon World Cup Stadium by myself. And I was standing in line. It was actually right around Christmas time. The two guys in front of me who were a little bit younger than me turned around and started speaking English to me. They were both Korean guys who had lived, one in the UK and one in the US. And I ended up befriending one of them because he wanted to learn Spanish and I wanted to learn Korean at the time. So we started meeting up, doing language exchange that way. And it didn't end up working out in the long run. He was in Seoul. He was also in the military at the time, but he had an office job.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so he couldn't come to Suwon at all because he was kind of obligated to stay where he was. That probably would have carried on longer if we had been able to come to each other's neighborhood instead of me just going to Seoul every time.
That's cool. It was a Spanish-Korean language exchange.
You wanted to learn Spanish.
Going along with that, I've actually found that sometimes, even when you're just sitting places, like I'd be sitting in a coffee shop, I'd have people come over and try to start up an English conversation. Just because if you're a foreigner who speaks English here, it's kind of like a free lesson if they can just sit and have a conversation with you.
And more people really do want to learn English here. It's amazing. Even since 2008, I feel like I've observed a change an improvement in English level. And that's because people here are really opening up to this idea of being international, especially younger generation, which we talk about a lot.
Going along with the whole international is I've known a lot of people who've studied overseas or have lived overseas for a period of time. They kind of seek other people out to keep up their English. you know, because in Korea, a lot of times with office jobs and things like that, they don't actually speak English on a regular basis. And so they want to have somebody that they can just talk to and hang out with and use their English.
There's more and more people that are going abroad now these days because this place has more money, so you are noticing that.
Just the other week I was sitting in Hallyu Back, which is like a bakery slash coffee shop, having some lunch, and a high school boy who is here to get some surgery on his foot because healthcare is really cheap in Korea decided to sit down and start up a conversation with me. I gotta admit, it was a little awkward because I was rushed, but it happens more than I think it does.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about because that same day I dropped you off there and went into Dunkin' Donuts to get coffee, and that same kid approached me in Dunkin' Donuts! It was the same kid who approached both of us on the same day at different times. That's insane. And the funny part was, when he came up to me, I thought he was about 25 years old, and he was 17.
He looked like he was 25.
And that's the opposite of how they usually are here. Usually they look really young when they're in their late 20s, early 30s, and this kid was, thought he was like some professional coming in just to get coffee on his day off. He's like, oh yeah, I'm in high school in Virginia.
But okay, so because not everyone is a teacher, if you are a university professor, that's one way to make friends. But if you're not, if you're a student, that's another way to make great friends. I myself have made a lot of friends throughout my classes, just talking to them in between classes, working with them in group work. They've invited me over to their house. They've taught me how to make kimbap. Hi Ming. And I've made a lot of really great friends through just daily interaction like that.
This is a really nice topic, just thinking about it.
Yeah.
We have made some really great friends.
We have.
I mean, think about last Christmas, we were able to invite over people. It was majority of them Korean people who came over for Christmas, and we were sort of able to share our Western style way of celebrating with them, since they celebrate Christmas here, but not really the same way.
Also, we got to talk about some of that and see how some of them experience their Christmas and like hang out and just have fun. Like,
yeah.
I like that cultural exchange. Another way that I've made a lot of friends is through coworkers. And that's huge.
It's very common.
That's very, very common,
yeah.
Because you work with these people on a regular basis. They help you, you help them. It's easy to make friends that way.
Yeah, if you're coming over as an exchange student, either in high school or in university, then you're probably gonna make friends with other kids in your classroom. If you're coming over to work, then you're probably gonna make friends with the people that you work with. And if you're coming over to travel, then it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, probably. You're only gonna be here a week or two to really get to know people, even though you'll probably have a bunch of really great exchanges that are more short, like in the market with someone who's selling something, or at the restaurant, or maybe if you're on the bus or the subway and you need help and someone wants to help you, like we've been approached.
It takes time to really build friendships here, because if I had to describe the Korean culture of friendship and relationships, a lot of it is very relational. You don't necessarily meet people unless somebody else introduces you. And this goes for a lot of things, like dating relationships are usually started with like blind dates because friends match people up in the same way. Sometimes you make friends by friends introducing you to other friends.
Which isn't necessarily personally the style which I do it, but that is generally how it's done.
And that's actually generally how I make my friends in Korea.
Sure.
So that's it for today's life in Korea.
Yeah, if you'd like to read more about our experience making friends or running into people or that sort of thing, click the link right here to our blog. We write more in detail, cover some of the subjects that we didn't cover during the video. If you have a question for us, we'd love to try and answer it for you. That's what we're doing.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do. We answer questions for you. I got no future in rap at all. Drop a note in the comment section if you have a question for us. Also, facebook.com/Hallyu Back is our Facebook page. You can leave us a note on our wall there, or hallyu.back.com is a comment section, and maybe we'll answer your question in one of the next videos.
And be sure to click the like button down below, give this video a big thumbs up, and subscribe, you guys. That's it for today's life in Korea.
Oh, it's it for today's life in Korea. Experience it!
I said your part.
I know, and I think that's because I don't want this video to end. I'm like really nostalgic thinking about all the nice people we've met here.
I know, that's why I wore the pretty frilly girly dress, because I'm like, it's a happy topic.
It's not bullshit, man. We've made a lot of friends here.
And I love them. I adore them.
It's crazy.
I miss seeing them.
I would be sad if we left this place.